Come on and join us.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, there you are.
Hi, I'm here with, as you introduced us, Courtney Jenkins. Here we've got Tatiana Beatty, Miss LaTanya Williams, and Tonya Carney is joining us from her school location. She couldn't get away from her school, but we're sitting here in the Neely's Bend Advocacy Center, which is Miss Williams Advocacy Center. So we're all very excited to share with you today. I'll screen share my slides in a second, but I want to just open. So I'm Dr. Mary Sonobori. Hello, everyone. I'm very privileged to be able to lead the Trauma Informed Schools initiative in Metro Nashville Public Schools, dating back since 2016. So we're really eager to share our work, a little bit about our work with you today. But I just want to open by saying, this work takes a village, and it's so exciting to hear about all of your projects, all the work happening throughout the state of Tennessee. This is collective impact work. And so to hear, how much this has spread over the years, thanks to, Building Strong Brains and now Resilient Tennessee and all of your work, it's just so exciting. And we really take a collective impact lens here in MNPS in a big way too. So MNPS, we have 164-ish schools, kind of depending how you count them. We have over 10,000 staff members. We've got over 5,000 teachers. We've got 84,000-ish students. So it's big work, and the collective impact work just here in Metro Nashville Public Schools is really big. So that's the lens we take. On that note, if I can get my screen to work right. Oh, let's see, it's not letting me screen share. There we go. I can't get to my buttons because of the Teams window. But here we go. So we're excited to talk just a little bit about the MNPS Trauma Informed Schools and Advocacy Centers initiatives. I'm going to turn it over to Courtney Jenkins, and she's going to open us up with a welcoming ritual.
All right, everybody, we're going to start by getting grounded. So we're going to take a deep breath in, and we're going to take a deep breath out. And we're going to say, I am okay. And we're going to do that again. Inhale and exhale. I am okay. We're going to do it 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. I am okay. And last time, inhale. Exhale. I am okay. And I shared that one with you all today, is that is one of the mindful moments that I have done in my household with my son. And he has benefited from advocacy centers. And I love to tell the story about how one morning I was rushing, as parents do, rushing, trying to get ready, running behind. And I was saying all kind of bad words. And I could not get myself together. And my son woke up out his sleep and he said, Mommy. And I said, Carter, what? And he said, I am okay. And I said, you got me there, buddy. So when we do these techniques, children are watching and they are learning. And so I'm just so grateful that my son has been able to benefit from these strategies and help remind me to keep myself grounded. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Courtney. So that's just one example of the practices of many practices that we implement in advocacy centers and try to spread in classrooms throughout Metro Nashville Public Schools. So a quick introduction of our teams. So I'm the district coordinator of the work. I believe also on the call, Sarah Cermak is our incredible advocacy centers and trauma-informed schools manager, helping to take this work to the next level. And then several of our amazing trauma-informed specialists, including Courtney, are on the call as well. And then, of course, we have this originated in 2021, fall 2021. So this is our 3rd year of implementation in this huge expansion of our work. We have 74 school-based advocacy center coaches in every single one of our elementary schools. We do lead, well, we do have work for middle and high schools or secondary schools as well. We lead on this team the elementary advocacy centers initiative. So we'll focus on that aspect today, but I do also want to highlight and make mention of every single one of our middle and high schools also have a peace center, which is fully staffed with a full-time restorative practice assistant as well. So that's a collaboration, partnership between MNPS, SEL and restorative practice teams, as well as STARS. So that work is also incredibly important, rich, and strong. But today we will talk a little more about advocacy centers. This is not for purpose of review. This is only to say, as your kids, as your humans and people in your communities, our kids have so much that they're dealing with, right? It's not just what, it is not, did you hear that? It is not just what happens at the individual and household level. This stuff does not happen in a vacuum. There are so many adverse community environmental factors as well, opportunity gaps, systemic and historical injustices, as well as some of the environmental factors and impacts of COVID, the pandemic. So we know that stress and trauma can impact so much in our students and, you know, their healthy development as well as school success. So, you know, school success, ability to focus and pay attention and, you know, make good decisions and learn and interact, you know, with relationship skills in a positive way, even health impacts. But really, ultimately, this is about agency. This is about, I've heard voice and choice on the call today and all kinds of, you know, empowerment, all kinds of important things. But what matters most to them, not what we tell them top down you need to do or accomplish, but to them, what are their hopes, dreams, and goals, and the agency to really accomplish that. We know stress is a big impact, but this work is, you know, although we call it trauma informed or trauma sensitive, or, you know, we use the word trauma and we understand what happens to the brain and the nervous system and the developing body. This work is not about the deficit. It has come up multiple times on the call, so I don't want to go too deep, but this is about the PCEs. This is about the resilience. This is about, you know, empowerment. So I'm going to actually skip around slides. I'll go back a little bit, but our values here capture kind of the message I'm trying to say. So the values of the Trauma Informed Schools team that we've worked hard over the years to not only identify and, you know, frame here, but to embody in our work. We're deeply committed to obviously combating and interrupting adversity, prevention, and mitigation. That definitely includes racism and any and all forms of oppression. But really what we're committed to is this strengths-based, growth-minded, empowering, compassionate, healing-centered engagement with all stakeholders. We're deeply committed to connecting and collaborating with educators to share practical things, meaningful and practical things that they can use right away. And then really, we're truth tellers in this work. We're committed to authentic and meaningful dialogue about issues that are highly relevant to our profession and these times in 2024, with the great focus on instilling hope and helping people make meaning of the hard things that do happen. So I'll go back a little bit, but ultimately to be a trauma-informed school, we love this frame from the Attachment and Trauma Network. In fact, several of our team members just got back from the Attachment and Trauma Network conference late last night. So if you had us presenting in the morning, we would have been dragging a little bit, although we were here, but fantastic conference. But we really work hard to help support our schools and our staff and our communities to make sure that all kids feel safe, not just physically safe. Physical safety is very important. We certainly have had community events right here in Nashville about, you know, physical safety in our school buildings, but also relational safety, emotional safety. When behavioral mistakes happen, is there behavioral safety, academic safety? We really bring a big focus on regulation, of course, it's been talked about a lot today, and then relationship-rich school environments, as well as a focus on learning to make sure it's not only equitable and social emotional learning is integrated with academic learning, but also that learning is fun, because when kids are enjoying what they're doing, they learn better and more. And then that social justice and racial justice piece is a critically important part of our work. We find if you're not focusing on social justice and racial justice, you're just not fully trauma informed. So that's a critical part of the work. You might notice that this mission looks a lot like the original Building Strong Brains and Resilient Tennessee mission, but we're really working hard to leverage the power of that collective impact to prevent and mitigate the impacts of childhood adversity, but all for the purpose of promoting those positive childhood experiences and promoting resilience and school success for all students. This has also been mentioned on the call in different ways, but this is not just for or about students who have trauma. Not at all. This is in the best interest of all students. So I know RTI and MTSS has been talked about on the call today as well. But we're really doing this at what we call Tier 1, which is universal, all students who enter our buildings. So we're really trying to promote widespread awareness and trauma-informed school culture and practices. So I feel like I'm talking very fast here because I want you to have the opportunity to hear from our amazing advocacy coaches as well. So I'm just going to overview what the work looks like, and then in maybe 10 minutes or so, I'll turn it over to them to share a little bit about, the impact of their work in their schools. So we offer a ton of training and professional development throughout the entire district. We have trained thousands and thousands of folks over the years, a bulk of them being educators, but we also train anyone who will listen. So lots of extended learning settings, even faith-based communities, universities, parent groups. So we do aim to train whole school faculties first and foremost, but we also offer district trainings for individuals to sign up and come to our professional development center. And again, essentially anyone who invites us to train their group, including community groups, we feel that the students who attend MNPS that's our community. So we feel like anyone who lives in Davidson County knows and cares about a child. So we would be happy to offer training to you. On that note, here is, I know that last slide is pretty small, but here's a list of some of our trainings. And then there's on this slide also a link to training that's available on YouTube for anyone who wants to see it. I know I'm going very fast, so I'll give you a moment to take in that slide before I go back to the last one. The next part of our work is all about support. So for anyone, elementary, middle, high school, teachers, school staff, could be leaders, we offer consultation and support around supporting individual students, class-wide supports, as well as school-wide interventions and support. So again, at that universal level, we do fund some pretty important tangible resources for teachers in every elementary classroom throughout our district to implement regulation spaces, which we often call peace corners, in every single classroom, elementary classroom. We passed out 1,750, thanks, Courtney, 1,750 little regulation toolkits to every single elementary teacher earlier this year. In that kit, there was also a glitter wand and a few other things in addition to this box that has a bunch of little fidgets in it. Thank you so much, Ms. Latanya. Here's a glitter wand. We love our glitter wands. And then we also support school-wide curriculum for teaching and practicing SEL skills with a focus on regulation and compassion and connection and empathy and all of those good things, including regularly scheduled mindfulness-based brain breaks integrated into the daily schedule. In every classroom, again, at that universal level. We offer consultation in a variety of forms, and we can assist with crisis response. We'll offer ongoing support for classroom, staff, students after a disruptive event happens in that community. We help out with mental health and wellness days at schools, interacting directly with students, student voice sessions, and all kinds of supports offered for all of our MNPS schools. I'm going to skip to Handle with Care next, and then I'll circle back to advocacy centers. Handle with Care has also been referenced a few times today, which is great. We've been implementing Handle with Care since 2017. As you can see, we funnel thousands of Handle with Care notifications per year. That is a notification system by design. It's a partnership with our Metro Nashville Police Department. We actually just received a brand new grant to really expand and improve our Handle with Care notification system in the hopes of expanding it beyond just police department notifications. but to also include anonymous reporting of events that happen, or maybe fire and EMS or other types of potentially traumatic events that are happening often, most typically outside of school, but we want to make sure we're handling our students with care. Since I'm talking about handle with care, it's really important to note we do not know what happened. We do not need to know what happened. We don't want to know what happened. The police department does not share that information with us. Of course, we then don't share that information forward. We're simply sharing to our schools, hey, this kid experienced something really hard outside of school. Please take another look to ensure that they're handled with care in the school setting. That being said, there may be times when a student needs to go through a trauma narrative or receive individualized counseling where it would be appropriate to delve into the event. That does not happen in a classroom or a tier 1 space at all. So we have a great collaborative referral system in place. So a licensed mental health provider might be able to do that if that's necessary, but the extra layer of assurance that kids get the referrals they need comes through the handle with care notification system. But what I just detailed, that information does not come through handle with care. So handle with care is a really important piece of our work. I mentioned we've got advocacy centers in all 74 elementary schools, so I'll circle back to that. But right before I turn to advocacy centers, I do want to just share really quick, our framework of recommended trauma-informed school practices, because that's really important. This is what we're really intentionally working hard to spread in all of our elementary schools, but this is also a recommended framework of trauma-informed school practices for our middle and high schools too. So when we're offering that, consultation and resources and support, these are the 7 things that we're really focusing on. And I'll just read them if you don't mind. I know you can see the slide, but that first and foremost, fundamentally, this work does not happen unless there's a mindset shift to prioritize equity and safe, stable, nurturing relationships and environments as the essential foundation for learning. That has to happen first. And then we used to have this as the 6th or 7th one on the list. We've bumped it up to the 2nd one because if our adults aren't well, then they're going to have a really hard time being attuned to student needs and present and able to listen and, really support students. So those strategies and supports for promoting educator wellness, yes, through self-care, but also through collective communities of care is so important. So supporting adult wellness and self-care is another strand of our work. I probably glazed over it when I was talking about that support piece, but we do a lot really to support school staff on that wellness piece. Also, we really promote low stress physical spaces and environments in all classrooms. That could be looking at, noise levels or lighting. It could also be looking at relational safety and all those kinds of things, as well as, peace corners, but that'll come up in a second. Systematic or intentional strategies, really intentional is a better word for that, intentional strategies that support belongingness and inclusivity by elevating that student voice, choice, and leadership. Again, I know I'm not the first person to say that today, so it's so exciting to hear others doing that work in your projects. And then we work to explicitly teach kids about regulation, the upstairs brain and the upstairs brain and the downstairs brain. And, if you had a behavioral snafu, that doesn't mean that something's wrong with you or you're a bad kid, and reframing that stigma. Instead, you're just human. You got dysregulated, and guess what? There's something that we can do about it to help that prevent that from happening again. And some humility from adults too, because we as adults get dysregulated too. So we can meet kids where they are by kind of authentically sharing about our own experience too. And then we really promote those regulation spaces or peace corners in every classroom and help do our part to help teach folks to be able to respond to symptoms of stress or dysregulation rather than reacting to problem behavior. So on that note, I'd love to talk about advocacy centers just a little bit. We do have all 74 of our elementary schools have an advocacy center. One school is currently using a Be Well model, in part supplemented with our advocacy center funding. We support our advocacy center coaches a lot with a 6-day training series upon onboarding. And then we have a really structured coaching model where we conduct monthly site visits for coaching using a systematic process and feedback and support for our advocacy center coaches. That's guided by an implementation fidelity checklist to ensure that we're implementing the initiative as designed, because when we get to our program evaluation piece, which we have some pretty robust program evaluation happening, we want to make sure that our evaluation is valid, that the intervention was actually implemented. But ultimately, the advocacy center it's a regulation space, but it's not just a space. It's more about the person and the connection. But the space is designed to support social, emotional, and behavioral health and wellness for elementary age students, both through skill building and preventative strategies, as well as responsive supports for students who become emotionally or behaviorally dysregulated during the school day. But much more importantly, the advocacy center coach is essentially an emotional regulation coach. I see sometimes on advocacy center doors things like, this is the place where emotions matter, or all kinds of great things. We care about you. That's the whole message. But again, they provide preventative and responsive supports, not only in the advocacy center. That's really important. Not all advocacy center supports happen in the advocacy center. They're all throughout the school buildings. They're pushing into classrooms. They're everywhere in the schools, as our coaches can speak to. But ultimately, the purpose is to develop some of those pro-social skills that are going to support, healthy, happy humans, which can lead to school success. So the categories of supports provided, preventative supports can include things like mindfulness-based brain breaks for the whole class, or regularly scheduled breaks for individual students. They might do scheduled, very intentional student check-ons, or if there's a more structured intervention called check-in, check-out in place, they're that check-in, check-out mentor with their checking in with students at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. They provide mentoring. One particular program that many of our male advocacy center coaches implement is called Rites of Passage. But coaches will also lead lunch bunches or little student groups. It could be kind of around friendship or getting along or different topics. They can also implement, teach some content lessons that support emotional regulation and social emotional learning. As far as those responsive supports, those are short on-the-spot resets for students who might get dysregulated in the moment. We always start with a mindfulness-based regulation strategy, similar to the one that Courtney shared at the beginning of this talk. But it could also be guided breathing or movement, could be use of fidget tools, any grounding activity, even yoga or other forms of movement. And then once kids have their lid down, they're kind of in their body, feeling calm and able to connect with the adult, then they connect and reflect, really elevating that student voice. And then finally, for the reset, they'll support that reentry for the making sure the student is welcomed back to class in a positive way and has what they need to successfully get back on track to the assigned activity or whatever's happening in that classroom. At times, there may have been a behavior that caused harm that the student is going to the advocacy center for, and then we would do a reset like I just described, plus an accountability action. So that only happens when needed. It definitely does not ever happen every time a student visits an advocacy center, but that accountability action is intended to be designed with the student, elevating their voice, acknowledging, hey, some harm happened, but how do you think we should fix it? And decided in conjunction with the student so that they can help to repair that harm. It may be in the form of a community service project or something else like that. And it's important to mention here a couple things. One, we do encourage students to self-identify and self-advocate. Hey, I'm not feeling great inside. can I visit the advocacy center now? I heard I think the last talk talked about this as well. Or there are times where the teacher may say, hey, do you need to visit the advocacy center? But we really work hard to never ever force a child to go. They shouldn't come to the advocacy center if that's not what they want. But that rarely happens. Typically kids really want to either go to the advocacy center or interact with the advocacy center coach in another space. And another important thing to say is a real big, strong intention in this work is to interrupt a traditional discipline process. So nothing that I just talked about, including like an accountability action or a reset, none of that is punitive discipline at all. None of that is an office discipline referral or something that they get a kind of a punitive or disciplinary action for. Instead, it's all, even if it's responsive, it's still proactive and focused on just getting kids what they need to be successful. And then finally, the last thing that advocacy center coaches also do a lot of is adult wellness supports. So they can push into classrooms to lead brain breaks, while at the same time, the teacher gets a much needed break. They can support adult regulation through systems like tap in, tap out, or teacher incentives or teacher appreciation. They lead open houses. They consult with families, interact with families a lot. We've got a whole family engagement piece as well. And at times they may provide intervention recommendations, and then at other times they might call in another specialist, like a trauma-informed specialist or another specialist to support in a classroom as well. So one other thing I'll just let you see in the images here, we've adopted another, yeah, do you have Bouncy in here? I don't know if you do or not. I know you have Bouncy in here, but he may be in his house. So Bouncy is an animatronic dog. He's a breathing buddy. His belly expands and contracts, and students can breathe with him. So here's Bouncy right here. I think the one on the left, that's Bouncy's house at Hull Jackson. And then you see Miss Cece at Glenview Elementary working with a student on the right. I think Bouncy's coming over here right now. So a lot of diversity with Bouncy too. He's a mixed breed. Something happened to Bouncy in his earlier days, so he's missing a little paw, has a hook. He's got one blue eye and one brown eye. But this work is all about, we take care of Bouncy and Bouncy takes care of us. So if I push his paw, then he's going to teach me how to breathe and tell me to hold my belly up to his belly, and we can breathe together. So he's a breathing buddy. That being said, we also have other great partnerships too. Many advocacy centers bring in real living therapy dogs. We've got a partnership also with some mindful sound immersions with the Frequency Center, and different partnerships to bring some of these strategies to our advocacy centers. Here's just a couple other images. Miss Kylie over at, I think I said Hull Jackson before, but it's Stanford. Is that right? It's Stanford. Yeah, over at Stanford. She has little affirmations on our advocacy center door, and she says students are picking them up every day. Staff members also pick them up every day. There's another advocacy center door, just clearly giving the message you are loved. In this image here is a note from a student to an advocacy center coach saying, thank you for all the stuff you've done for me, or you did for me. You're so nice and funny and helpful, and you've helped me with so many things, which is just a sweet little note showing that relationship. So we kind of already talked about that, but I'll give you a moment just because of all the cuteness in that picture. They're engaging in a mindful strategy right there at an advocacy center, but I did already describe the supports. So Melissa's going to send out, I think, the slides for probably all the presentations after this meeting. In the interest of time, I'm not going to be able to show these videos today because I want to honor the person coming next, and I really want to honor our advocacy center coaches to share. So I'm going to stop being the talking head in a moment. Oh, this is Gary and a teacher at Cumberland. Gary's the advocacy center coach at Cumberland, and this teacher gives like a great kind of narrative about how much he's helped her as well as her class. So much great work happening in these 74 schools. But at this time, I want to turn it over to Miss LaTanya Williams here at Neely's Bend, and she's going to share a little bit about the impact of her work in her advocacy center. Do you want to switch seats? Sure. Yeah, why don't you take that seat?
Hello, everyone. My name is LaTanya Williams. I am the advocacy coach here at Neely's Bend Elementary. And just to tell you a little bit about us and Neely's Bend and how the Advocacy Center has impacted us, coming back year one, I want to go all the way back to year one when we started the Advocacy Centers, knowing that most of our kids were virtual. And now coming back into the school, we had kids with big emotions. I mean, being at home all of this time with your parents or grandparents or those in the communities helping you, coming back into the school was kind of a big thing. Going back with your friends, your teachers back in the building. So the impact for us was that we had to teach our kids through the Advocacy Center with books that were provided, computers, fidgets, and music. So they were able to come to the Advocacy Center and get tools and techniques that they could use to stay in class. Because coming back to class was a lot for everybody. Teachers with behaviors, and we didn't know the impact of what was going on at home, and then having to come back to school, it was just different. It was totally different. So what we learned was the Advocacy Center was a place, a safe space where the kids could come if they felt like it. They could talk with me. If they felt like it, they could come in and use all the things that we were provided so that they could remain in class. And over this time, as years have gone by, I've seen a change in our school. We don't have the same kids that were originally coming to the Advocacy Center maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 times a day to see Miss Williams because they were dysregulated. Now we're only doing check-ins. We're checking in the morning, and we're also checking out in the afternoon, just making sure that they're using the tools that they were provided to stay in class. We also noticed that now I push more into classes. I feel like that you're at a point where you need to speak to someone, I ask the teacher to text me and I come to you so that you can stay in the class and you're not missing that class time. So the Advocacy Center has been, major for Neely's Bend. Also for our teachers, this has been a safe space for our teachers. They get to come in, have their lunch, we sit around, we talk. They've used some of our tools. So what an impact from year one to current, the change, the atmosphere. So the advocacy centers are great and they are working, and the materials, awesome. As Mary stated, we have the dogs now, which they love. Our kids love it. Our babies pre-K up until about the first grade love the dog. But again, it's been great and just awesome for Mary, and just this idea of the Advocacy Center and the impact it has made for Neely's Bend.
Thank you so much, Ms. Williams. So next up is Tanya Carney. She's at Jolton Elementary. So I'm going to stop my screen share and turn it over to Ms. Carney.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am at my school. It was kind of hard leaving today. Came in and there were some situations that I needed to deal with some students. But however, as LaTanya also said, we came in together year one. It was new to everybody. It was new to us. It was new to the school. Principals were trying to buy in. Teachers were trying to buy in. Ida B. Wells was my first school. I left and went to Robeson County and immediately came back to Metro schools. And in returning back to Metro, I didn't want to go into another position but an advocacy coach. And luckily, I live in Springfield now, so Jolton was my closest school. Been at Jolton for 2 years now, going into my 3rd year. And again, like we feed off each other. For me, I was doing a lot of students were coming to me, but this year I'm able to push in even more. My first year, I didn't do a lot of push in because I didn't want to interrupt instruction. But now that I have such a great rapport with everyone in the building, from maintenance, food services, admin, teachers, parents, my flexibility is even greater. So we've also been taught that we are to be the most regulated person in the building. And that's kind of hard sometimes when I take everything out of my car. I get to the door to get into the school building, but my badge is in the car and I can't get in the building. So at this point, I'm dysregulated. So I'm not going back to my car breathing with breathing techniques. I'm going back huffing and puffing. So when I get into my own room, I have to self-regulate myself before I self-regulate the building. So my room is a safe space for me to be able to knock off some of those things that's going to interrupt me to be effective to our teachers and our students in the building. I do a lot with our students, but I also focus a lot on the adults in the building. We've had a lot of surgeries this year. We got some retirements coming. We have teachers who are kind of struggling with classroom management. I have a 5th grade teacher who has 30 students in her classroom. So I'm focusing on students, of course, but I'm also focusing on the adults in the building. I'm focusing on my principal, who just was the assistant principal for years, and now she's the principal. So I'm chatting with her in the morning, having my morning chat, seeing where she is mentally, checking on our food staff, checking on our secretaries, just checking on the adults in the building. We had an adult last year who's no longer with us, young, came in my room crying one day because her boyfriend broke up with her. I helped her regulate that whole situation, but she's fine now. She actually left me a thank you note saying thank you for the free counseling services. But I love this job. It's self-fulfilling. And like LaTonya also said, to not see those same students we were seeing on the regular is awesome. And just a real quick example, the day before Valentine's, it was an evening, it was around 8 o'clock. I had a grandmother call me and she said, I know you probably, getting ready for the evening, but I really need your help. Her grandson was really giving her a hard time. I said, could you put him on the phone, please? She put him on the phone. I said, he's crying. He's all frustrated. I said, first of all, breathe. And whatever's going on with you and grandma can be fixed. And I will see you in the morning. He calmed down. So when my goal was to make sure I was at that front door when he came in the building. And I said, how are we doing this morning? He said, I'm good. I said, okay. So yesterday, when I took him and his sisters out to the car, I wanted to just say, I just want to say hi to grandma. She was like, oh, I said, there's nothing wrong. I just want to check on you. And I said, no, show grandmother what we talked about. He said, I am okay. I am okay. So it's fulfilling to see that they're taking what we're teaching them in this room or in the building home. Because most of the time students bring home to school, but they don't take school home. So I'm just honored to be in this position. I'm honored to be able to allow you to understand what we do, how fulfilling of a job that we do. Does it get tedious at times? It can. But those teachers, I would like to say that we are the sugar in the cake. We are the soothers in the building. We are the on-call specialists in the building. My phone, everyone in the building has my text. So they can reach me at any given time, and I'm going to do my best to get to you. And we're going to work together to see what the students need or what that teacher may need. So thank you again for this opportunity to allow you to know that advocacy centers are valuable in Metro schools.
Thank you so much, Tanya, and I hope you all will let us do one more share. The amazing Miss Tatiana Beatty would like to share, and I do want to mention her husband is also an advocacy center coach, and they are just amazing coaches. So here's Tatiana.
Hello and good afternoon. My experience as an advocacy coach has been a very rewarding experience. I am an OG original for 3 years. And most of the students I've seen were like little babies whenever they first started. And now their siblings are coming into school and they're like, oh, hey, this is Miss Beatty. She's this person. Just to keep it short, like I really enjoy doing this with Metro. I mean, to think about the past of what I've been through and my trauma and being in schools and seeing my other friends and even my classmates, how much they could have benefited for something like this. Just today, I had a multitude of students come in today, surprisingly, and they just go through so much. Just like what Miss Tanya says, they take what they go through at school, home, and bring it to school, but don't bring school to home. And I just try to foster that connection and give it to them to take home with them. So my big thing is affirmations. And I had a student who had a big argument with a parent, and now that parent has sent that child to live with another parent. And she was just crying. I knew something was wrong. I've been knowing her for 3 years. So I'm like, I know when she's upset or when she's about to cry, I said, your eyes are getting glossy. Do you need to come with me? And she said, and she's going through growing pains, and she just wants someone to listen to her. And me and her have this thing that we've been doing for the last 3 years where I call it telephone, but it's on a piece of paper. And I just write something after she gets a little calm or regulated. I said, cry it out if you need to. If you want to just, lay down in a beanbag chair, do some deep breathing, like we do the I am okay. And she calmed herself down, and I said, okay, are you ready for telephone? She said, yeah, I'm ready for telephone. So I'm like, hey, how are you? And she said, not so good. And then eventually, after we write it down on paper, she eventually verbally tells me, starts to get more comfortable with telling me verbally what happened. And after that moment, I just said, well, let's pause on what happened between you and your mom. I said, let's just talk it out for a little second. I want you to know this is what I think about you. I said, it may not matter what I think about you, but I want you to carry this with you everywhere you go. I said, you are loved. You are beautiful. You are smart. The world needs you. We love you here at Schwab Elementary. And just letting her know that over and over again. And she, as each time I kept telling her, say it with me. And she just melted all the stress that she was going through at home at the moment. It didn't matter. She just knows that at that moment, someone loved her. And I said, you're getting ready to get out of here. I've been knowing you for a while, but you're getting ready to get out of here and go to middle school. You're a few months away from it. And I said, I just want you to know that you are loved and you are truly cared about. And that being said, I still have students that come with their siblings and they're just racing to me like, Miss Beta. And just like, hi, I miss you. How are you? And they're like, it's so much going on, but I'm okay. I remember everything that you taught me. I had a student last year in 5th grade that he called me by my maiden name, and he said, Miss Fain. I'm like, I turned around and I just raced to him, open arms. I'm like, where have you been? I missed you so much. I was like, I'm so glad. I was glad to see you. And he's like, well, I moved back to Nashville and I'm glad to see you. And I walked him up to see his old teachers. And it's just building that connection with people and just keeping in mind that these are young children that go through different things than that most adults won't see in their lifetime. And the amount of impact that this program has offered to Metro kids is really amazing. And that, I don't know, it's just a wonderful experience. Like if some of my friends that had somebody to care about them today, what would happen? Would they have been a better person? Would they have succeeded in anything that they've done? But most importantly, would they have known that someone, before they left this world, that someone loved them? Just like what Maya Angelou said, it's that people may forget what you have done for them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that's how I will close that off for you. Thank you for your time and have a great afternoon.
Well, thank you all so much. We find this work to be so healing for, our students, our schools, ourselves, and there's just so much hope to be had. So thanks for listening to a little bit about our project.
Thanks, Dr. Sherman-Bory. It's so fun to hear. I just heard these guys speak at the ACE Nashville meeting a month or so ago. And so I was so excited they were also going to join us because it's such good work. You can see their hearts. And I'm going to tell you, Miss Tatiana, if you and your husband are both advocacy center folks, your house is going to be one of the more peaceful ones in Davidson County.
We try to. We have We have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old, and it's a little chaotic right now, but it's getting there.
Oh, I love it. I
There's
love it. Well, thank
her
you guys.
husband is Rudy right there in the
Oh,
image on the right. That's
yeah.
Rudy. He's amazing.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for taking time out of what I know is a busy day, because there are no non-busy days in schools. I can testify to that. So, Mary, friends, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We appreciate it. There's lots of good stuff in the chat. I hope you guys can see when you get off of here. So thanks for being with us. All right, friends, we have scheduled one more person. Marshall will join us, and we've just been having a few emails back and forth, and I was asking her if we were talking about the potential that she could do her full presentation in our August meeting, because our next time together will be our May Summit. Or if you guys, I mean, I don't want to cut her short, so she is more than generous, and we can put her first on the agenda for August, if that is okay with you all, or we can hang in if she wants to do maybe 15 or 20 minutes and folks can hang with us a little behind 2 p.m. What do you think, Marichelle?
I'm game for either. If I do it, I'll probably only get to the 0 to 3 stuff. I won't get to do the pre-K stuff, which
Oh,
is
man.
fine. I could just do that, and then I can send out the playbook.
It's really,
And if-
I mean,
Sorry, I was trying to condense it. I was like, what can I do? I could do the 0 to 3 and just talk a little about the initiative. And if anyone has questions, they can always, I can give everyone the playbook. And then if they have questions, they can always reach out. We could do some kind of one-on-one time if anyone has questions.
yeah, we can just get it started, see how it's going. Look, I've got
Yeah.
to vote for you, get a whole slot. And I got 2 votes now for you
Sound
to get
like
a whole slot in the August meeting. So
It's-
maybe let's do that if that's okay, because I don't want to cut you short. It's such good stuff. Marshall and I got to meet together. Gosh, I don't even remember if it was the end of last year, or the beginning of this
Yeah,
year.
I think it was at the beginning of this year. It's
Yeah, it all just kind of runs together, huh? But
yeah.
yeah. Go
So
ahead,
talk
what were you
about
gonna say?
collaboration in Nashville, because that's where we're at. We're in Davidson County, and I'm Marisha Bonifacio. Let me get my PowerPoint ready.
Yeah. We'll
Okay.
give it a shot here, and if people want more, we'll bring you back in August. How about that?
Yeah, and I'm very mindful about time. I always want people out at the right time. This is like, I'm a stickler for that. But I'm Marisha Bonifacio. I'm the community outreach coordinator for Metro Nashville Public Schools Early Learning Department. So a little different. I'm working with the 3 to 5. And I'm going to share some information on a Grow Together with Metro Nashville Public Schools initiative. Some may have heard about it. And what I'll do is I'm going to breeze through a few slides, but I'm not going to get through it all. But I will send a playbook that we developed on it so that you can see all the initiatives. And if you have questions, please reach out to me. If you're interested in learning more about it, I'm setting up community meetings. That's actually how I met Melissa, and also Rob was through another partner who kind of connected us all because they found out about the work we're doing here in the early learning department. So let's get started. And just a quick snapshot. I know our team before me that presented had some demographics and data, but this is who we are. This is Metro Nashville Public Schools as a whole, very diverse, large population. We have 80,000 students, and of the 80,000, just to give you some perspective, we have about 3,500 in pre-K and about 6,500 in kindergarten. So, and that's kind of where our world lies in the early learning department, and we're representing 141 languages. So Grow Together with MNPS. This initiative actually is focused on birth to 3. It's a bit different than our typical public schools have always been focused on pre-K through 12, and then also some pre-K expansion. And I'm going to walk you through. I don't think I need to give the why on birth to 3 in this group. But in case anyone would like to know, I mean, it really is a foundation of learning. When we talk about where children learn, I think a lot of this work that we're talking about, it started with conversations about 3rd grade reading levels. Like what grade should we go back to? 2nd grade, 1st grade. We keep talking about all these other grade levels, and it really starts at the womb. If you think about it, and helping build that healthy foundation for that child, and how quickly their brain develops in those first 3 years, how they're absorbing that information, and how critical it is to caregivers' information. And in the process, what happened is this all formulated through conversations. And these were conversations between our leadership, which I would say Dr. Battle, our executive director, has always been a big proponent about what can we do to support our families more, especially in that 0 to 3 space. You know, that's a big one for our families that we've met with. And then so the conversation started in spring of 2022, lots of conversations with families, lots of conversations with school sites, community partners, and talking about what can we do for 0 to 3 in this space for our county. And then it started into a committee forming in spring of 2022. And then we did some community partner outreach as well to kind of decide what initiative should we do and what strategy should be to really support the families, what are their needs. And then we had a full board presentation based on what we developed in fall of 2022. And then finally in last 2023, we started the branding process, calling it the Grow Together Initiative. And then we developed that playbook I talked about. The playbook is really simple. It just has every initiative we're working on and what's underneath it and how we're going to get there. And it ebbs and flows. I mean, as you know, and with this program work, you know, as we discover too along the journey, and we are just starting we just started in this school year. So starting like, you know, probably in August of July of last year was when we started some of the work, actually going into communities and helping and started talking to the families as far as providing them services and resources. You know, it's starting to formulate. Also, we're getting that feedback of what's important to these families. What do they really need? So that's, you know, it's going to start growing. And another thing I want to really point out too, as we work on this, you know, collaboration, is we're not trying to recreate the wheel. We want to also collaborate with those who are in the space that we're looking in our strategies to see if there's something that we can do to support them. If there's kind of an area that needs, you know, hey, we need to have more services or resources here, what can we do to expand those? So we definitely, and if something is missing, what can we do to make it happen for our community here in Davidson County? So with all the conversations and the feedback and the surveying, the one thing that we did is, okay, what are our 5 core strategies to start the initiative for the birth to 3 side? So we settled on there needs to be some kind of website or platform. You know, one thing that we're hearing back from families is they're overwhelmed. There's so much information, especially several of our EL families that commented, you know, it's not in language, or, you know, I can't find it, or what should I be even looking for? So we wanted to make something very simple and digestible, and just to give them basic information that can really support them from that 0 to 3 perspective. Playdates and child development courses, text messaging services, care bags, as well as home and televisits. So these were our 5 strategies we're going to focus on for the next few years and see how we can develop this and provide this to our families. So the Birth to 3 website's already launched. It's the Grow Together site. There's a QR code there if you'd like to take a look at it. We really work with community partners to develop this as well as families to find out what's really important. And it was developmental milestones and information resources, caregiver local resources that they can really use, family participation opportunities. Is there events? Is there things that we can be doing? Access to early literacy, math, and SEL information activities, and transitioning into pre-K information. That was a big one. How do I transition my child, or what services are even out there, or programs that are out there like an early Head Start? So we actually implemented this last year in January. So it's been about a year, a little over a year. We have about 14,000 page views, but this is a number was from several months ago. So I have to say it's probably increased since. Through this, we also developed a quarterly newsletter that's available in multiple languages. It's about 100 plus families already registered for this as well. And that was launched last July. So this is the website if anyone would like to take a look at it. It is also, we try to make it as static as possible, but we do add, you know, the other day there was like RIP, you know, our local RIP, and we wanted to make sure that families knew about that because, you know, they have some great services. So we'll be adding that next week. And then Playdate and child development courses. We really wanted to help families with any, you know, focus on literacy and numeracy milestones. We want to provide some workshops in the community, also some Playdate opportunities. I mean, we wanted to provide families an opportunity to get to connect with other families, whether it's families within their community, within their own language, you know, so this is something we're working on the strategy for it. We've kind of done some pilot programs as we go along. We started doing some workshops this spring, or upcoming spring, we'll be doing a workshop. We did some a winter play date recently with families to see what, you know, the curriculum might look like, what it might actually look like for families, and kind of what they're interested also in learning as well, and getting their feedback. So it's still a work in progress in that respect. We've also partnered with the Nashville Public Library. They have some play dates and story times in their communities. I mean, there's in their branches as well. So we've been partnering with them, providing them program information and books, and also finding out if there's any gaps as far as maybe there's some areas that don't have the play dates that they're looking to expand as well. And then we also we partnered with the Hispanic Family Foundation, which services a lot of our Hispanic community, but also we're finding Arabic community in there as well, and other pockets as well. So it's been really interesting to see that growth. And then also they have a community baby shower. So we've actually helped provide information and resources to families there, and about serviced about 400 families there. And then I'm probably going to stop after the next 2 slides, just to let you know. So family text messaging services. This is interesting. You know, this again, when you talk about community, this wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, MMPS is going to launch this service and it's an MMPS branded service. No, this is the total community effort, because text messaging services, that's at 0 to 3 age. We want to make sure all Davidson County would have accessibility service that would provide kind of like those reminders as far as like some great activities and tips that are developmentally appropriate for each age and stage. We actually looked at doing this internally, if that was even a thought, but there's some great external services out there. So we vetted them out and we've already selected, we're leaning towards one. But we're also looking at what community partners can we connect with to make this happen. We're talking to the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation on this program. So we're connecting with them to see how we can work on this, as well as involving other community partners. It's just a really support tool. They're quick text updates. They'd be in English and Spanish to begin with. We're looking at other languages as well, just to really support families and giving them those activities and nuggets of information that can really help with their child's development at home. And care bags, we are putting care bags in the community as well. Let's see. I might stop here after this one, but we have care bags in the community. We're actually, and the reason is we want to have this kind of references, you know, in the minds of families, like, you know, here are some resources and services. We want to put books in there to help build their home library, but more importantly too, to show them that we are a partner here for them. So as a partner, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, our information is there. If they see that bag, if they see the information, tools and information that we're providing to them, they know they can connect with us if they need additional information or resources, or they can go to our website. So we actually have about 350 bags planned to send out this spring. We're going to be doing it through one of our community baby showers, through a school site, and also various events. All right. And then the reason I had connected with Rob and several others on this phone call who are probably here is that we were looking at home visits and televisits. You know, what should we be looking at? How can we expand any programs that are out there? How can we connect our families with those programs? So we are connected with local providers on making that happen and collaborating on with them to kind of bring that to our families in Davidson County. All righty. So I'm going to stop here. But I want to thank everyone for your time. I will send out the playbook. And like I said, if you have any questions or want to connect more, I really went through this very quickly. So I probably would have gotten way more in depth on some of the other work that we're doing. But this is kind of just a little kind of preview. So you can get back to you if you have any questions.
Thanks so much. I appreciate your flexibility. And you did great at getting through what you got through. So thank you so much. I will, you know, if you can send that out to me, I can send that out with the rest of our information. Your playbook, is that what it's called? Playbook,
yeah,
right?
Playbook.
Okay. And as well. So thank you so much to everyone that was able to join us, presenters, attendees, and for just being willing to pivot to a virtual format on a fairly quick turn. We definitely appreciate that. So we are at 2:03. I've taken 3 more minutes than I promised you I would, but appreciate your time being here. If you need anything, I'll hang here for a minute. If not, you guys go have a wonderful rest of your week.
Have a good week, Melissa.
Thank you. Who was that? Oh, Dr. Nita. Was that you? Also, I see you, Christopher Williams. Jill Murphy, it's good to see you, sunshine.
You're the only one that gets to see my face today.
I know. No, it's good to see you.
You too. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, bye. Howdy toddy, Chris.
Bye, howdy toddy. Hope you like the hat.
You doing good, friend?
Yes, ma'am. How have you been?
I'm well. You take care of Dr. Stewart for us over
I'm
there.
trying. I was hoping to come see y'all. Then I got the email with virtual only.
I know it's silly COVID stuff, tricky on us. So,
I understand.
all right. Well, we'll see you soon.
Yes, ma'am. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for having us, Melissa. This is a great meeting.
Oh,
you.
thanks, Mary. I appreciate you guys. I could do a whole meeting with just y'all. Like I'd let
Oh
you watch
gosh,
your
we were
camera
trying so
around.
hard not to go too long. I'm sorry, we did take a little more time than belonged to us, so I apologize.
Hey,
But
We're
thank
so
you.
flexible, you know, TCCY man,
Yeah.
we're nothing if not flexible. So
I
but
appreciate it. That
yeah,
shines.
thanks for all the work you do. I love schools and I just love what y'all are doing. So thank you.
We share that. We also love schools. Bye.
Bye, guys.